E equals mc squared, in Buddhism. These are what the Buddha discovered. The Noble Eightfold Path. The prescription to end dukkha elements. Anatta. The idea of absence of ownership of a soul, self, or I, assumed to be rooted in a person. The mind is perceived as the forerunner of all phenomena. Anatta shines as the core discovery of Buddha, which is a deep philosophical concept. Anatta was discoursed through an Atalarkana Sutta, and the 5 ascetics became arahants after grasping this reality. Anatta concept reveals, in reality there is no soul, self, or I to be found rooted in a fathom-long body. Einstein and Buddha. Both Einstein's discovery of relativity and Buddha's discovery of the anatta are ingenious. Both were deeply hidden realities exposed through their intense investigation and scrutiny. The nature of these discoveries has some relevance to what Michelangelo said about the statue of David. He said, "It was there in the rock. I simply took out the excess bits to make it visible." Broad view of dukkha. Dukkha is a fact of life. Dukkha rooted on nature of life is unstoppable. Examples: sickness, aging, death, etc. Dukkha arising from the mind can be controlled as we only create them. Examples: anger, stress, regrets, sorrow, etc. What is mind? Mind is not a noun. It's the running of thinking process in the brain by the neural networks. The mindness characteristically represents the awareness of the present moment with the thought that just came to be. Our thoughts are the brain's responses to the 6 streams of inputs: visual, sound, smell, taste, sensual, and external and internal ideas. External ideas are the inputs we receive from others, books, society, media, religions, etc. Internal ideas are sourced from our past memories and also from the thoughts we create when we are awake and dreaming. We are responsible for creating our own dukkha and sukha thoughts and emotions. Others cannot create these for us. We create them. The mind does not exist when we are in deep sleep or when unconscious, thus proving the feelings of a soul, self, or I are directly linked to the brain when it processes inputs and produces thoughts. What is thinking? Thinking doesn't come from birth. Infants gradually learn to think. Infants are bombarded with sensory signals from the time they come into this world. Their first task is to develop brain programs to identify these signals. This is where the development of thinking programs starts, otherwise, our lives will be doomed. The infants also develop motor skills. Programs developed for physical actions will gradually reach near automation tasks, thus minimizing the deliberate thinking required. The mental development linked to thinking grows rapidly after the children learn a language enabling communication with others. The above are the fundamental steps we go through in establishing our physical and mental functions, which are essential in adult life. In awake situations, an awareness exists to sort out real inputs from unreal information, that is common in dreaming situations. What is Buddhist taught to cease dukkha? Practice the prescription taught by Buddha. Noble Eightfold Path is the prescription. Wisdom. 1. Right view. 2. Right intention. Ethical conduct. 3. Right speech. 4. Right action. 5. Right livelihood. 6. Right effort. Mental development. 7. Right mindfulness. 8. Right concentration. How can the dukkha rooted in mind be ceased? It's vital to understand our thinking process to evaluate what's going on in the thoughts generation process. Once understood, the dukkha-creating thoughts can be controlled by intentional involvement. Cessation of dukkha is done by integrating the Noble Eightfold Path into our thinking process. This is done through mindful involvement. Example: use thoughtfully constructed words when conversing. Right speech. Dukkha and sukha, happy, are the feelings rising from your thoughts, emotions, etc., created by the brain as reactions to the 6 streams of inputs it receives: visual, sound, smell, taste, sensual, and internal and external ideas. This depicts the basic schematic diagram of the thinking system and the sequence of events through how our thoughts are generated. What's on the left side cage are the inputs we receive through the 5 sensory organs. The mental feeds are others' ideas that come to us by various means. Our brain processes these streams of information through the neural networks that we have developed from day one of our birth. The data in the memory gets referred to at each thought formation, and hence the data in memory makes direct influence to the thoughts we are making. Thoughts we make sometimes get fed back as inputs to rethink or to evaluate. We may do that for some as a loop until the final thought is made. Some thoughts and emotions may get stored in our memory for a short or long time. The data in memory also can become an input source. In dream states, memory provides the data for our dreams. The thoughts rising during dreams also can get stored in memory. Some of the data coming through dreams can be not real, as we see very many fictitious characters and meaningless incidents. This is a close view of what's been explained as the mind formation process in Buddhist text, with the concept of 5 skandhas. Consciousness is vital for the formation of all aggregates, though it's listed out last. The function of the brain was not known during the Buddhist time, but Buddha's explanation of mind has been superior and excellent. Our operation of the mind-body has been explained using the 5 skandhas, or the 5 aggregates. In Buddhism, the thought generation process has been sliced and diced to these 5 aggregates, as depicted in the schematic. It gives an idea of the logical sequence of formations of our thoughts. All these take place in microseconds. The Buddha emphasized that none of the 5 aggregates taken collectively or individually or in any combination could constitute a self, thus further emphasizing on the anatta concept. Reasons for dukkha thoughts and steps to mitigate. Mind is grounded in the brain, and feelings are sourced by neuronal activities. Reasons for dukkha. 1. We create dukkha thoughts sourced from information received through the 6 streams of inputs. Example, news of the death of a friend. 2. We repeatedly feedback and reprocess the dukkha thought we just generated. 3. Sometimes we memorize the source data that led to the dukkha thought. 4. Our thinking processes are conditioned throughout our life, and hence self-centered. How to prevent or mitigate rising of dukkha thoughts. 1. Be aware that the thinking processors in our brains are conditioned and biased. 2. Be mindful to capture the source data as you receive, and process these data thoughtfully, preventing generation of dukkha thoughts. 3. Be mindful to capture the already formed dukkha thoughts and reprocess them in a pertinent way to mitigate formation of dukkha thoughts. 4. Get around the source data that is stored in memory, and handle them in a way to ensure that they will not lead to dukkha thoughts in the future. Recognizing anatta. The idea of self is created by feelings arising from our thinking. The feeling of I originated in infancy, and it continually gets imbued in memory. Hence, it is an inseparable feeling in life. Just like the mirage we see is really an imaginary visual thought created by eye-brain networks, the self is a delusional thought created by our sensory inputs, memory, and the brain networks. The feeling of I is an integral part of the thinking process, and always lingers in the active background, or subconscious states of the brain. The absence of feelings of self, soul, or I under deep sleep and unconscious states shows that these feelings only form when the brain is actively generating thoughts in awake or dreaming situations. Anatta and behavior of mind. When become immersed in a movie, we feel the feelings that the characters have, happy, sad, frightened, etc. This is true even when seeing animated movies, though we know these fictional characters are the artistic creations of astute screenwriters, brought to life by actors or animated figures. With this example, we realize how we get fooled even after being aware of the truth behind it. Influences of inputs. Paticca Samuppada is the cause for this in Buddhist teachings. Our neural networks imbued with our lifelong conditioning create the fictitious self, soul, and I that keep our life journey till death. Philosophically speaking, an academical understanding of another is analogous to knowing the details of the movie in advance, which doesn't stop you to be in reality. On the other hand, the manifestation of anatta is meant to sustain and experience reality at every mental moment. Thanks for watching. Hope this presentation makes sense. These are my personal views gathered over a long period. Hence the content should be considered accordingly.